Now there's two other modes, Cipher feedback mode and output feedback mode. And before we get into this, I know that just from teaching this and being around CISSP a lot, I know that people are just preparing for the exam and things like this, they just try to memorize and dump it on the exam. But when I first took the CISSP exam, there were no study books. There was nothing to actually study and zero in, and that's why I wrote the CISSP book, because there wasn't anything out there to really study. And I did that because I did the same thing. I took the exam, and a lot of stuff I didn't really fully understood, but I memorized it, and I just didn't like that. I passed, and I didn't know all the information. I just memorized it. So I know that people do that, and that's it's your choice, but not necessarily that you need to know Cipher feedback mode, that's going to come up in your career, but actually knowing this information is a lot different than just passing the exam. So when I started, I was a security consultant before I passed this exam, and I'm still a security consultant. And because I know this information, not just because I have a CISSP, but I know this information, I'm a much better, well-rounded consultant. So people kind of get frustrated around this point when we're talking about these modes and everything. They're like, I'll never see this. Why do I have to know it? Well, you might. There's a lot of things that I would never have caught working with organizations if I didn't know a lot of this information that I thought I was never going to run across. So these two other modes, Cipher feedback mode and output feedback mode, are similar. And remember, we're talking about a block cipher. Well, if they're in these modes, one of these modes, it's actually a block cipher that's working like a key stream, stream cipher. So it's actually a combination of block and stream. And we're going to look at a graphic to show you how that works. But the reason is because sometimes you have a smaller amount of data to encrypt other than like a 64-bit, a message, you cut that up into 64-bit blocks and you have to encrypt it. Sometimes you only have 8 bits, sometimes you have 1 bit. Let's say I'm at a terminal that's communicating to the terminal server. So each, click on the keyboard is actually sending over data in real time. It's not necessarily being buffered on my system. It's being sent over in real time. And that could be 8 bits that need to be encrypted and go over. Well, if we used a regular block cipher that is in like CBC or ECB mode, that would have to be padded. You'd only have 8 bits, and the rest of that would have to be padded. So that's not efficient, and it's not necessarily the most secure way. So like I said, the developer determines what mode the algorithm is going to work in, and it depends on what's actually being encrypted. The CFB, like I said, an example is a terminal client communicating to a server. OFB would be in a noisy environment, in an environment where text can more easily get corrupted.